his worst nightmare came true to a certain extent, right? How true is that for many of us, that we go through these things and we're going through these struggles and we're going through all these different avenues and all these different things, and it's affecting us, right? It's affecting us in such a way.
Be strong.
Cool. So, see, with this one, we're talking about fear, right? We're talking about that, those thoughts, those fears that keep us up at night. That's what we're talking about in this part of the series, because this is how we're going to get some more dangerous prayers. This is how we're going to start praying a little bit more dangerously, right? Is our fears. What's the thing that keeps us up at night? What's the thing that we worry about? Because today we are talking about these fears. Because why? Because these fears show an insecurity. It shows a weakness of ours. It shows that we don't fully trust God when it comes to these fears, right? We don't fully trust God when it comes to these fears, and that's the scary part. Because, see, as the guy in the story, as he was explaining it, right? You know, he had his worries, and then his worst nightmare came true to a certain extent, right? How true is that for many of us, that we go through these things and we're going through these struggles and we're going through all these different avenues and all these different things, and it's affecting us, right? It's affecting us in such a way. It's affecting us in such a way. It's crazy because we don't ever really talk about our fears. I mean, we talk about those other little ones like being scared of heights, bugs, whatever it is, but what's those things that you are terrified about? Those things that you worry so much about, because that will show you where your weaknesses are. That will show you where your insecurity is at. Because once we could finally talk about that, once we're open about that, we can start working on trusting God with that. We can start talking to God about that. And that's when the healing, that's when the work of God's going to start to work, right? That's when you're going to see some progress being made in your prayer life, in your life general, right? In your general life, you will start to see that difference. You will start to see the change. You will start to see what it means to trust God fully, even with the fears that you have anxiety about. Those things that cause you to be so anxious, so terrified, so paralyzed, right? So finally, we could start to, really dive into all this. Start talking about it. We put it out in the open. We start to talk to God. We start to trust God. Is it going to be easy? No, because it's going to be a process. It's going to be a process that we have to get to. But see, all of this is a process so we can start praying more dangerously. So we start praying more dangerous prayers so we can start trusting God fully, instead of just giving him these easy prayers, these routine prayers, that we finally shift over into asking him these hairy, audacious prayers and really start to see that full effect of God's love and his mercy and his guidance, his power in our lives. That's where we got to be at. That's what we got to do, right? Is to get there. And I understand it's going to be hard. I understand it's going to be difficult, but we could do it. We could do it, but we have to do it together. See, this is a process of how we're going to get there. That's why you tune into this, so we can learn from each other, so we can see where we need to be at, where we need to do, what we need to do, how we need to get there, because only then and only then will we be able to fully move on and progress and grow in our prayer life and in our actual life. So let's go ahead and start today. Let's open up about our fears. Let's open up about our insecurities. Let's go. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you so much, more than you ever know. So, Crayon Rocket, our motto is be unique, be creative, be you. Why is this important? Because we were all created in the image of God. We were all perfectly and wonderfully made. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Share it, like it, subscribe.